What's the weirdest situation you encountered as a military police officer? I was stationed at Fort Lewis in 2008, working night shift when dispatch called about suspicious activity at the motor pool. Just another Thursday night, probably some privates trying to sleep in the vehicles to avoid barracks inspection. My partner and I pulled up to find the gate secure, no signs of forced entry. We did a perimeter check and spotted movement inside the maintenance bay, called for backup before entering. The bay doors were closed but unlocked. We drew weapons, announced ourselves, and entered. What we found still confuses me to this day. 3 full-bird colonels in PT gear were inside, surrounded by disassembled parts from an M1 Abrams tank. Not just a few pieces. The entire fighting compartment was methodically laid out across the floor like some deranged jigsaw puzzle. Tools everywhere. Maintenance manuals open, and the colonels were covered in grease, arguing intensely over what appeared to be the tank's targeting system. When they noticed us, one of them, Colonel Harrington from Division Artillery, calmly walked over as if 3 senior officers dismantling a multi-million-dollar weapons system at 0200 was perfectly normal. "Evening, officers. Nothing to worry about here. Just conducting some training assessment." My partner asked for authorization paperwork. The colonels exchanged glances. "Well, that's the thing," said the second colonel, who I recognized as our brigade commander. "This is a sort of unofficial evaluation. Turns out, these 3 West Point graduates had made a drunken bet at the officers' club about who could reassemble a tank the fastest. They'd all commanded armor units in Desert Storm and were arguing about technical specifications when someone said, "Why don't we just go find out?" 20 years of rank and authority had convinced them they could simply walk into the motor pool and borrow a tank for their dispute. The sergeant on duty had recognized them and didn't question their orders, just handed over the keys and went back to sleep. By the time our shift commander arrived, they'd been at it for hours and were completely sober, slowly realizing the magnitude of their error. The tank they'd selected was scheduled for deployment training the next morning. The third colonel, who worked at the Pentagon, started making calls. Within an hour, the base commander arrived in civilian clothes, took one look at the scene, and just said, "Jesus Christ, Richard, again?" What followed was the strangest cover-up I've ever witnessed. A maintenance team was summoned. The tank was reassembled by 0600. Documents were created showing the tank had been scheduled for emergency maintenance. The motor pool sergeant was quietly transferred to Korea. We were instructed to remove the incident from the blotter. My shift commander told us this never happened. 2 weeks later, I received orders for a special assignment guarding a general's residence. Better hours, better pay grade. When I reported for duty, I found Colonel Harrington waiting for me. "Officer Miller," he said, "I believe we can agree that discretion is the better part of valor." For the next year, I had the easiest assignment on base. The general was never home, and I basically got paid to maintain a garden and watch TV. The colonels all retired with full honors. One became a congressman. Another runs a defense contracting firm. The third teaches military ethics at the War College. They still get together every year on the anniversary of what they call the Great Tank Robbery. I know because the congressman sends me a bottle of scotch every February with a note that just says, "Discretion appreciated." Military justice may be uniform, but it's definitely not universal. Sometimes the highest-ranking officers are just overgrown lieutenants with better cover, and sometimes the weirdest situations never make it into the official record. The most important lesson I learned in military law enforcement wasn't about regulations or procedures. It was that rank has its privileges, and those privileges include rewriting reality when necessary.